Right. We're live, but I don't know if you can hear me. I'm having one or two slight technical. And I'm wondering if I'm actually driving this computer a little harder than it should be doing. But do let me know. I mean, Andrew English is saying hi, and he's saying, is there no countdown? Well, there is. So do let me know if that's the case. My browser is incredibly slow. Can you hear me? I mean, Sean's kind of like in the background. He can put his thumbs up if he can hear me. That will be a no. Right. Hello there. Dan Berry, silly time change. What will be a cup of tea without tech difficulties? Yes, it's very possible. You're absolutely right. There is a reason. I may have been driving this laptop a little bit harder than it should have wanted it to. But we're up and running now, and people are jumping in. We've got ourselves, it's Dan Berry. It's the silly time change. That's exactly what it was. It's the time change that was just completely messing with me. Even though it is actually 6 o'clock here in the UK, and it's what, an hour later for our American brethren. Hello there. Welcome along to Talkin Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. My name's Len Sultana, and each and every Sunday we get to talk about Comic-Cons, comics, and all the stuff and nonsense we get to enjoy at the shows where we celebrate all the fascinating things in the worlds of pop culture, including WonderCon, which is taking place at the end of the month. We're going to be talking about that very shortly indeed. We've got ourselves all of our updates when it comes to what's happening with WonderCon. And of course, it's your questions as well. Anything that you want to discuss, this is your show. That's not to do with me. I'm merely just the conduit of this. It's all about you. If you're watching, number one, thank you very much indeed. Jump in on the liking and subscribing of all the YouTube bits and pieces down below. And of course, wherever you're watching this, we are streaming to all sorts of strange places. But of course, if you are watching on YouTube, jump in on the it'd be that side, wouldn't it? Jump in on the Q&A, and anything that you would like to ask of our guest, do let us know if there's anything that you want to jump in on that. This guest is somebody who is incredibly busy at the moment. He's getting himself prepped for one hell of a weekend when it comes to WonderCon, and we'll talk about that in a minute. He's somebody who I've not spoken to myself personally, but we have covered his work on the Convention Collective, on our Sandbox Spotlight. If you go to my Threads page, I think I've actually put the link to it, so you can find out a bit more about SEAN FORNEY, which we're going to talk to very shortly indeed. Yeah, if you follow along on all of my social medias, I'll try and provide links down below. But yeah, please do follow our special guests, and of course follow along with everything that they come up with, including, for example, Tom King, who's got a load of stuff going on at the moment. Thank you very much indeed for everybody who jumped in on the show on Wednesday, our incidental episode. That is available on YouTube on a playback. Watch that. It was an hour and a half in the company of a very talented bloke indeed. But SEAN is somebody who I have not spoken to. Dan Berry is very much a trumpeter of this particular artist, but it's great to get the chance to speak to our special guest today, which is SEAN FORNEY. Hello there, sir. How the devil are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Surviving. I think I was convincing my laptop to do some video rendering and transferring files from a external hard drive to a micro USB at the same time. And the moment I then introduced Instagram into the mix, that's when it all goes horribly wrong. But no, we're here now, and we're up and running. Thank you very much indeed for coming on. I had a guest drop out about 2-3 weeks ago, and I put the clarion call out for anybody that would like to come on and talk to us. You responded, and the timing couldn't have been more perfect that you've decided to come on the show. And thank you very much indeed for that. But you have got yourself, like I say, a very busy WonderCon on the way, and you've got yourself a Kickstarter, which we're going to talk about very shortly indeed. But first things first, I think just so we kind of get everyone up to speed and introduce each other, SEAN, if you could please give us a bit of a pocket history about yourself, your work, and what you get up to, sir.
All righty. Well, I want to say thanks again for having me on, and I'm glad timing worked out. I guess it was meant to happen there. So I've been doing this for about 20 plus years now, working in comics in some way, shape, or form. I've been a colorist on numerous projects over the last probably 15 years now. I've worked with Marat Michaels on all of his counterpoint stuff, from the Do You Poo, All Out Poo, Taken Verse, Hardly Thin, all those titles. But I've also worked with him in a number of other capacities doing work. We did a 5 or 6 issue miniseries of Zen, the Intergalactic Ninja, variety of other things over the years. Last probably about 4 or 5 years now, I've been coloring stuff for Coffin Comics on the various Lady Death, La Muerta, and all their other titles. I've also worked on licensed stuff for Marvel, including doing the Upper Deck sketch cards, done some Spider-Man children's books, and then just a number of other things. And then my wife and I co-created and we self-published our book Scarlet Huntress. And as you mentioned, we do have a Kickstarter coming up very fast that we're going to do a 84-page art book that we're going to launch at the end of the month, which you've got the image up on screen there. And we also, last year and the year before, we ran a Kickstarter and then produced, published, etc. Scarlet Huntress issue 5, which wrapped up the story arc that we started way back in 2003. So it took us that long to finish up that story arc, and we're in the midst of working on a new volume, starting with an issue 1 that hopefully we'll have in time for San Diego Comic-Con, and then later in the year run a Kickstarter for that. So yes, it's definitely been some busy times.
You've been a busy boy.
Yeah.
It's quite impressive to see that you just what you put on your plate. Like I say, you've got the cons as well, and it's something that I'm always fascinated when it comes to working artists and working people in the comics industry when they have cons on the docket and how they actually fit in all the work that they need to do, plus go off and do what they need to do at conventions. What's your kind of take on time management and how you kind of fit your cons in, and how you pick and choose which shows to go to?
As far as time management and working around trying to get ready for the con, not gonna lie, it's a struggle. We did WonderCon for the first time in 2018, and we haven't been back out there since. But we had done San Diego Comic-Con from, I think, 2009 or 2010 was our first year out there. We did that all the way up to 2019 before the world went crazy, and then we haven't been out there since. So we knew a little bit of how to prep and pack for going on a flight and taking all of our con essentials. But the last time we did it, we didn't have as many comics. We didn't have as much of our own book. We didn't have nearly as much of the other books that I've worked on and stuff. So that's been a little bit of a challenge trying to figure out how to get all that stuff packed and whatnot. We've been doing that off and on basically since we found out like mid to end of February. They didn't give us a lot of lead time on this convention. I'm
gonna get into WonderCon and the CCI organization in a bit. We'll get into that, but certainly your prep as well. So, I mean, what's your workflow? Are you digital? Are you pen and ink? Is it something that you can do while you're on the road?
Yes, I do a little bit of everything. So I try to schedule projects knowing that I've got the convention coming up, and so I know kind of a rough idea how much time I'm going to have to fit in stuff. Like last night, sitting watching TV, ding, Facebook Messenger. Hey, buddy, I got this cover. Can you get it done by Thursday? Yeah, this one I can't pass up. So like, there's things like that are always inevitably going to happen, and I just have to kind of keep an eye on what I'm doing. And then like anything else I try to squeeze in. So I've been trying to get a number of pre-done sketch covers and stuff. So I've been trying to fit in, like at least getting one started each morning before I work. That's like my little warm-up sketch, gets everything in my arm and shoulder moving so that I don't get bent out of shape later in the day. So I try to squeeze a little bit of that in and then do whatever the projects are. And with it still being early on in the year, everybody's still kind of trying to figure out their schedule, what they're producing for the year. So we did this big mad dash cram, get everything in by the end of December, or, before the holidays hit. And then it's kind of like, I don't want to say like there's like a rest or breathing period because everybody's still doing something, but we haven't picked up like mad dash of like, sometimes like I'll say Marat, for example, sometimes we'll do like 5, 6 or more poo covers throughout the week that we need to get done and sent out to various, retailers or whatnot. So like that hasn't been as crazy yet. So it's giving me a little bit more time to do like the pre-done sketch covers. And then if there's stuff that might need to be worked on while I'm making the trip, some of the stuff I can take and like say work on my iPad. It doesn't ordinarily happen just because the weekend at the con ends up getting just too crazy because I'll end up either going back to the hotel room and doing sketches, or the con runs too late. And by the time we might get dinner after the con and get back to the room, it's like, I'm just going to crash. Yeah. So I don't usually take a lot of stuff with me unless I absolutely have to, or sometimes if it's a con that we're going to and it's going to be a long car ride, and if I know I've got something due, like a cover to work on, something like that, I will have the iPad with me, and on the car ride, I'll be sitting there doodling. My wife's usually the one that likes to drive, so she's driving, I'm sitting there working on a cover, or whatever it may be.
Wow.
So there's that kind of comes into play of like juggling what I need to do to get ready for all these things. But for the most part, it's just I got to be smart about time management, and like I definitely struggle with the when to say no on some of the stuff that gets thrown my way. So I'm constantly getting, no, you can't do that. We don't have time to do that.
It's something that I have been asked to ask artists certainly if they are working digitally, and I think it's just more artists really kind of talking art stuff and kind of like the making of the sausage. It's something that as a non-artist I don't particularly know about, so you're going to have to just say it and then hope that the other artists out there will know what you're on about. What do you use on your iPad? What tools do you use? What apps do you use? What do you use for your workflow?
So I've got the iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil 2. and then I use on my iPad, I use Clip Studio Paint and Procreate. Those are my two like go-tos on there. And then I've also got a Wacom Cintiq, however you want to pronounce it, that I primarily, when I'm working on my computer, my go-to is Photoshop, especially doing color work. I've been using it since 2001, so 23 years of using Photoshop. It just
that's the next question then, because that's what I usually get asked to bring up. Certainly with the way that their price structure is going at the moment, and the way that their infrastructure when it comes to their relationship with creatives, it does seem that they're taking quite a few liberties. Is Photoshop, is it still going to be your primary piece of kit, or is it something that you're thinking of moving on from what you're doing?
For now, it is still my primary tool when it comes to coloring, because I've got that many years experience in using it. No, I'm not going to say I know the program inside and out, because I don't. I use like this much of what Photoshop's meant for. So I'm constantly always finding like new little things that I can do or use for some stuff that I work on. But for what I do, like, it's second nature for me to use a lot of like the keyboard shortcuts or things like that I just know inherently that it cuts down on my work time a lot. To have to go and learn a new bit of software or app or something else to do what I do, it is a little bit of a struggle. So and it goes back to that time management thing. If I got to like sit in there and like now start doing training on top of everything, it's like,
were you an early adopter as well? Were you somebody that went into digital pretty much at the start of it whole thing, or was it something you eased into?
I was in my second year, or no, my first year of college. That's when I started using Photoshop, and then I basically for the longest time taught myself. Then I met some other creators once I started hitting conventions and things like that. I learned more tips, tricks, what have you, that sped up my process and things. And like I said, I'm constantly always learning new stuff, and especially with like doing like say the poo covers that are homages of various anything across any kind of pop culture stuff, that I'm constantly like trying to figure out how to reverse engineer what somebody else did on a cover. And so I'm like constantly finding new ways to like say do a new texture, or find some new brushes that are going to give this specific look. So it's like in that respect I can kind of like learn on the go, because it's something I'm already working on and doing. But to have to learn a new technique entirely on a new bit of software, I'm going to struggle with that a little bit.
I mean, you also keep yourself surrounded by some very talented people indeed. I mean, for example, you also have your own. So I'm talking of the things that you pile on top of your own timetable. You also do the Friday night draws as well.
Yes.
And you just had one with Jamie Snell and Nate Lovett. Did I say Lyle Lovett then? I did, didn't I?
I totally got to tell him.
Sure, that's going to come back. Yeah, that's going to bite me in the ass. With Nate Lovett on there as well. I mean, that must be a lot of fun to do, and to kind of like also learn some new tips and tricks from them as well, and just kind of keep that real camaraderie of people close to hand.
Yeah, that was born out of the whole pandemic thing. When everything shut down and we knew we weren't doing conventions and we just plain weren't getting outside the house, I needed an outlet and needed, to talk and connect with friends and stuff. So it started out, I was just doing live streams in the morning, streaming to Facebook, working on sketches to start the day. And that was my way to kind of connect to the outside world. And then a buddy of mine, Rodney Fike, and his wife, Tina, they brought the idea of like tag teaming and doing a live stream. So it started out for the longest time, we did Thursday night throwdown and then Friday night draw. So like Thursday night, Rodney would host it, and we would do like a particular set of things. And then I would host Friday night, and we'd have our own different version of what we do Friday night. But once like the world opened back up, we started doing conventions. It got a little bit harder to do the whole stream thing. So Rodney has like jumped off and really taken the Thursday Night Throwdown, which they just rebranded to just the Throwdown. They're doing their thing. They got a good group of guys that they stream with. And I decided, well, I'll bring back trying to do Friday Night Draw, get some friends on there. It might change throughout each time that we do it, whatever, as a way to promote that, hey, we're going back to this convention, that convention. We got Kickstarters we've got planned for the year. And just kind of connect to a whole lot of new folks, because doing the live stream and the podcast and everything, it seems like kind of one of the new avenues to go down and try to reach people, because as we know, social media likes to throttle certain things. You don't get seen doing this or doing that. So, it's just, it's the nature of the beast of trying to always hit that moving target of like, what's the new thing I've got to be doing?
Yeah, well, that was going to be my one of the questions, one of the bullet points I was going to bring up, because obviously you've got the Kickstarter on the way. You're also trying to let more people that know which shows you're going to and the work that you got doing. And when we talk about a large platform with what had a large audience out there, we talk about Twitter a lot. There's no way I'm calling it X. Deal with it. However, I mean, we've reconnected again on both Blue Sky and on Threads, which kind of begs the question then, has your marketing become more metric? Have you really kind of started analyzing where you're getting the most out of your efforts? Or are you just kind of scattershotting? How do you treat your social media when it comes to promoting your work at the moment?
That scattershot is probably more apropos for what I do. I just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. It's been a kind of ongoing.
And what's sticking at the moment then?
Right. It's been kind of a running joke for like the last month or so. I've got a Facebook page that I'll update when I do a new piece of art. We also send the live streams to the feed on the Facebook page and whatnot. And like, it's been weird that like if I post a sketch cover I worked on, for example, some will get like, let's say 20 likes. And then I've posted a few in the last month or so that have gotten like 500 likes. And I can't put my finger on it other than like, you've got the two prime examples right there with the He-Man and the Batman that are on there. If it's something that's facing like dead on forward, doesn't matter if it's black and white or color, but some reason those are the ones getting the most likes. If I've got something that's at a like kind of an odd angle or something else, like 20 likes. Like the Batman's already started going crazy on Facebook this morning, and I just posted, I think, last night. But if I post something else that's like a little, turned a little bit more, not quite facing, right on the camera, it doesn't seem to gain as much interest. I can't figure it out for the life of me why. But again, going with that, like you said, the scattershot thing, it's like, I'm just going to throw this out to all the social media I've got and see what kind of reactions I get out of it. And
how are you taking to Threads at the moment? And well, Threads and Blue Sky, how are you taking to them at the moment? Is it something you're seeing as a benefit at the moment?
Blue Sky has been a little like hit or miss. I haven't seemed to get much out of it. Threads, I've gotten more out of it. I think there seems to be a little bit more engagement that I'll get out of posts. But it's still a little bit of a struggle of like actually getting some real engagement. And I think it's kind of been that way across the board with all the social media stuff. It's like some people take notice of it. What really gets me is like we'll just take the cons, for example, of, this con's coming up. I'll post like, say, like the whole list of what we've got planned for the year, which I think we've got 6 conventions or something planned already. I will always inherently, like the week of a con, are you doing such and such con? I've only posted about it every day for like the last month. Yes, I will be there. Or no, sorry, I'm not going to do that one. I'm doing this one. It's wild how it works.
Yeah. And using social media as a promotion tool also for the Kickstarter. I mean, Kickstarter is a whole other ball game, because that is something that at the end of the day you have got some real investment in, not only time and effort and money, but also you're wanting to get as many eyeballs on this product as possible, which kind of then begs the question about social media and promotion for that. So, I mean, you've got your art book on the way. Where's the attention kind of predominantly come from? I think I'm asking a lot of inside baseball stuff here, and I hope people are up for this.
Right. I think so far the most engagement I've got, most people have paid attention to it, have been Facebook. It's still been a little bit of a struggle getting the word out. Not as much on any of the other stuff. And it's a little bit tricky because this time around we're doing an art book as opposed to a comic.
Yeah.
So like in the past, if I'm doing a comic book, I'll go to the various Facebook groups that are geared towards comic books and geared towards running a Kickstarter for a comic book. And so since it's an art book, it's a little bit of a different approach that I'm trying to take. And so I haven't seen nearly as many people like hitting the notify on launch button or things like that. So I'm still trying to figure out the best way to navigate it, and trying to do stuff like this where I'm getting to talk to you about it. I'm hoping that's another way to reach people. Like, hey, we've got this thing coming. There's going to be a Kickstarter that hopefully people will take notice a little bit more than me just like posting blindly out in the nether realm of like, here, this is coming, and 1 out of a dozen people see it.
Sure. Why an art book? Why now?
It's something I wanted to do for the last few years, and we really wanted to try to launch it last year, but things were just crazy. So we didn't get to do it. Mostly it fell on me trying to get the cover work done for this. I just was jam-packed with other projects, didn't have time to sit down and work on the stuff. So I got the covers done either towards the end of last year or right at the beginning of this year. I finished up the covers. My wife's the one that did all the behind the scenes, putting the pages together and all this stuff. We did kind of a soft launch, if you will. Last year, we did an exclusive. We just printed 25 copies. We wanted to test it. Let's see what it looks like. And we sold the 25 books out of like 2 or 3 cons that we hit last year once we had the book done. And so we wanted to do the art book, get it out there. And it's basically, I think I went back as far as 2018, and I started collecting either covers I worked on, and by covers I mean it's got like the prelim sketches, the pencils, the inks, colors. I went and grabbed sketch covers I worked on, and anything else that I'd worked on throughout 2018 up until very recently.
All right, okay.
Put all that artwork into a folder, and we sorted it. My wife and I sat down and was like, okay, let's like pick different themes, and we're gonna start dragging it. And then she compiled, basically we have enough to do 3 volumes of this book that are going to be 84 pages, and if we had stretch goals it might grow to like 96 pages or something.
Wow.
So I had that much material from that span of like the last 6-7 years, I guess, to get this thing ready to go. And we figured we'll start with the one, we'll see what happens, see where it goes. And part of it is wanting to have the art book out there, make it available, because I've had some folks ask at conventions like, hey, can I get a sketchbook, blah, 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 that kind of thing. I just wanted to be able to do it, to have it so we can take to conventions, but also with the whole Kickstarter thing and basically trying to stay relevant on the Kickstarter playing field, if you will, of like, it seems like you have to have stuff coming out so every so often in order for people to really take notice of it. And it's like, I don't have time to crank out a comic book right now, but this material is already ready to go. This thing, like everything's pieced together. The file's ready. We just got to be funded. Everything's done. We literally send the files to the printer. We're good to go.
Those are the popular ones, aren't they? Where there's an actual product which is ready to go. This is more the production side that they've Kickstarter funding and helping with the actual financing of the publication of the thing.
Yes, and that's. I mean, I forget how the algorithm works or whatever, the equation of like, X amount goes towards printing, X amount goes towards shipping, and then the X amount will go towards us funding, basically doing whatever the next project is, which in this case is going to be us doing the next issue of Scarlet Huntress. And, then we'll launch that book when we get that finished and ready to go. So it's just, it kind of keeps rolling into the production of our projects that we want to produce, that, we're not dealing with having to work with another publisher or distributor or any of that kind of stuff, that I just don't feel like I'm quite ready to make that jump to have somebody else kind of dabbling in what we're doing.
Well, okay. Well, that was going to be my next question then. And you were talking about actually compiling all of the pieces that you were going to include in the art book. How difficult was it for you to get in there and kill your darlings? Or was it a case of the missus being a very helping hand in getting in there going, no, okay, that one stays, that one goes?
Yeah, it was more of a column B there. It was more of like, she had made the idea of like, no, we're gonna keep to this. And then when we did the first issue of it, it was really kind of trying to narrow it down, because we still had enough to go over the 84 pages that we were looking at doing. And it was still kind of a little bit of a struggle of like, what kind of format do we do it? Do we have it like categorized as like, okay, the first X amount of pages is covers, and then the next pages is like, I was like, I don't want to do that. I wanted this to be simple. I wanted it to be fun. I just want people to look through and go, ooh, that's cool, whatever. So I didn't really want a lot of structure to it. And so it was like, we basically kind of like, we took all the files and like, all right, now let's just start throwing them in there. And then we had to go through and like look at it, paginate it, or however the word is said, of like, we've got everything laid out. Now we got to organize of like, okay, we don't want, two werewolves back to back. Like, we got to spread those out. So we then went through and we did the fine tuning of, let's put this here, and then we'll go a couple pages of this, and then we'll put that over there. And then really played with the layout of, like I said, with some of the covers, we decided to do like, here's a shot of the pencils, inks, and colors. She came up with some cool layouts of like, okay, you'll see a little bit of pencils, and then midway through it transitions to the inks, and then the next page is like the finished product of the colors.
I was about to say, is it going to be final finished pieces, or are you actually including work in progress stuff in there as well?
Lots of work in progress stuff. For me personally, that's the stuff I like to see in sketchbooks and art books, is I like to see people's thought process, what goes into it, that kind of thing. So we did a little mix of everything in there, from basically scribbles to fully finished things.
Excellent. Also, when it comes to the actual book itself, what formats are you going to be releasing it in? So, I mean, I'm guessing there's going to be a digital PDF. Is it a hardback? What's the size dimensions? What are you looking at?
We're gonna do.
I don't know if you want to spoil this, considering the Kickstarter launches at the end of the month.
No, I'd like to get the information out there, because I'd like people to know, like, going into it, like what they're getting into. I myself, I'm a big fan of, like, I love J. Scott Campbell's artwork. And I have collected his, I got it sitting on my shelf right next to my desk. His little sketchbooks called The Rough Stuff. And they look like little notebooks you'd write in school. They're spiral bound little notebooks.
Nice.
So I like that, because you can completely lay it flat. You can look at the artwork. You're not like dealing with like a trade paperback where it's like you can't open the binding. And sometimes the same way with the hardcover. But that's me personally. I know other people like trade paperback, and I know other people like hardcovers. So we are offering, there are 3 different covers each. So I can't remember exactly how it works, but I believe the Mothman cover image will be the hardcover. The Scarlet Huntress cover will be the trade paperback. And then I've got kind of a lizard creature, which I haven't quite given a name to. That is going to be on the spiral cover. So you'll have the option of picking your choice of what you want for the cover option of, you want the spiral, the trade, whatever for the binding. And then we'll have a deal for the people that are absolute diehards that got to have all 3. You'll be able to save some money, get all 3, and then you can do whatever and however you please with how you like to look at them.
Nice. I mean, I remember speaking to someone, and they were doing an art book, and they were thinking very much in the same kind of vein as you. They wanted people to kind of appreciate the art, and they wanted to put it up on the walls. And they then came up with an idea. It was going to be a hardback book, and it had perforated pages as well, so you could take the pages out and frame them. And I think they did do it, and then they lost money on it, because just to publish and produce that just got crazy out of control. It just got very, very strange. You're launching this at the end of the month. Coincidentally, there's this little thing going off in Anaheim that you're launching it at.
Yes.
And you were talking to me at the before we came on air as well. Your birthday as well.
Yes. So everything starts on March 29th. We are heading out to Anaheim March 27th. We're gonna spend March 28th at Disneyland. And then the con starts March 29th. Some point during the day during the con, we're gonna launch the Kickstarter for the art book. And yeah, we're gonna go through and do the con, try to promote it. We've already printed out just little flyers so we can give to people that come and see us at the con. I'm gonna have a QR code to go to my link tree so they can find the link to the Kickstarter. And just see how the weekend goes. So we're gonna run the Kickstarter campaign from WonderCon until the end of C2E2. Nice. So we're gonna come home for basically the month, go out to C2E2, and then finish up and close up the Kickstarter campaign, I think on the Monday after C2E2. So it'll run, I think, 31 days or 32 days or something like that.
Nice. And yeah. It's a great way as well to, certainly a talking point with people coming by as well. Don't forget, if you like what you see here, if you want to get yourself online when you get back home, back to the hotel, there's this thing that I'm running. It's this Kickstarter that I'm doing.
Yep.
Speaking of WonderCon, I'm going to be talking about WonderCon and certainly talking about the relationship with pros a little bit later. You say it's been a while since you've been to WonderCon.
Yes.
What has been your dealings with CCI this time round, say, compared to previous years? Has it been smooth? Has it been, for many people, very quiet when it comes to their communication? How's it been with CCI this time round?
It's been a little mix. For the most part, smooth. When we had to have a conversation back and forth, that has been smooth. They've been very easy to get in touch with and get a reply back. However, for San Diego Comic-Con, Comic-Con International, we found out that we were in for that back like the week of Thanksgiving, so in mid to late November. It was cool. All right, we're going. So hopefully soon we'll hear about WonderCon. Then the holidays came and went. Like, hopefully soon we'll hear about WonderCon. And I think it was the end of February, mid-February, I think, is when we finally got the notification of, yes, we have a table that we need to pay for, but we know nothing else yet. Wow. And then it's just been kind of piecemealed out to us, which I know that's their operation is. They always kind of piecemeal stuff. You get stuff spread out, especially for Comic-Con International. It's, you find out you're going, you pay your bill, then you find out about when you sign up for hotels, then you find out about your hotel. That process continues all the way to July. And I tried to explain that to friends that are going for the first time, and they were just dumbfounded by it. I'm like, that's the way they do it. We literally sit here and wait until they give us a thumbs up to do something next.
They're definitely a individual. They're an organization that stand on their own. They definitely they do their thing their own way, yes. Which is very much it seems to be the way with CCI. But when it comes to WonderCon, like I say, haven't been for a while. What is it about Anaheim and about the WonderCon show that appeals to you? Certainly when it comes to compared to something like San Diego Comic-Con. What is it about WonderCon that absolutely appeals?
Disneyland.
Good point.
So we're getting to do Disneyland. That was a fun place. So we went. We've only been out there once. We did 2018. We went out, and it falls around my wife's spring break, so it makes travel a lot easier for us. And we went to Disneyland after the con was over last year. And we had an absolute blast. It was the most fun we've had in a long time. So we looked at wanting to go, but outside, like the con itself is great. The way that it's laid out, the two hotels are right there in front of the convention center. It's super easy to get to. It's affordable. It's more affordable to do that show outside of the flights, but like paying for the table, the hotels, that is more cost effective than some of the local shows that we do. And then like that closeness proximity of basically we can stumble out of the hotel when we're in the convention center is awesome. That whole little area where they line it with food trucks, that's fantastic. like there was all these pluses before we ever even got there. It's like, this stuff's cool. Like, let's go check all this stuff out. But doing the con itself, like, it was really neat because there's like all sorts of like different levels of creators, if you will. Like, you know, you've got these like rock star creators all the way down to like the folks just starting out. So it's cool. You meet all these new different faces that we don't ordinarily see at other shows. It's a good place where I get to see buddies that live on the West Coast that I hardly ever get to see. So there's all of those things. But then what was also cool is like almost, I'll say probably 1 out of 5 people that would come to the table would be wearing a pro badge, and we'd start the conversation. So like, what do you do in the industry? And it'd be like, I work for so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. And then the cool conversations would be like, I'm a writer on, you know, XYZ on CW or this show or that show. And it was really cool conversations. And I'm not going to lie. I mean, this is one of the things why we do this stuff is we've got our own IP. It's awesome to be in a show where some of these creative types that are coming from Hollywood, essentially, you know, it's like, I won't say it's just down the street, but it's close enough that there are a lot of creative types that are coming from those areas that are checking out the show. They're checking out those IPs. And it's like, don't know if it would happen, you know, crossing the fingers that, you know, it's always been kind of a dream of like going and doing like San Diego is like that somebody like that would come take notice of it. And it's not only is it just like Hollywood, but there, you know, a lot of publishers are in that area that they're coming to check out stuff. And it seems like a good avenue to get in front of those types of eyes that we're only going to get at doing a show like that.
Sure. I mean, I've only been to Anaheim once for a show, which was Star Wars Celebration. So I kind of got a little bit of sense of kind of the layout for Anaheim. And it seems very much a case of a city or an area of 2 sides. And there's one side of the drive, which is Disneyland. That's their side. And then you've got all the hotel side and the kind of like where everybody else lives. So it's very much, it seems like very much a 2-sided place. But no, I'd love to go back and check that out. I mean, we've got Andrew English. WonderCon is spaced out and lots of room to take photos. Oh, and lovely weather as well. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And you've got Cameron McNeil who's joining and watching. That's nuts. This is more about the responses you were getting from CCI. It's got to be aggravating and annoying, to say the least. Could really use an overhaul, it sounds like, but whatever works. Glad you all got it sorted out in time. It really does seem like with CCI, because they are a non-profit charity or a non-profit organization, that it's a different vibe to say a Reed Pop, which it's a business. It's their kind of like their core drive, if you know what I mean. With CCI, I still think there's still, if you approach CCI sometimes with the whole idea of just it's 8 guys in a garage round a cooler getting the pizzas in. Yeah, let's throw on a show. You take it from there, and I guarantee there's some people in an office who may watch this and go, "No, that's really not how it works." But I take it with that kind of attitude, and I kind of get a sense of where they're coming from. And,
I mean, like I said, they've always been really great about communication when if we have a question, if we're trying to figure out stuff.
It's the different departments. You see, it's the different department heads, and they're all have different speeds.
Yes, and like I said, this is only our second time going out and doing the WonderCon thing, so I had no idea how quickly we'd find out any of this stuff. It was, I'm not gonna lie, it was frustrating to like wait so long, but thankfully it still worked out. We were able to do everything. You know, obviously I'm not there. I don't know what their situation is. Couldn't tell you rhyme or reason like what the heck's going on with why it took so long. I know they definitely, from looking in from the outside, they definitely put their focus on let's get Comic-Con International sorted first, and then we'll worry about the other stuff. I totally get it. That's a much bigger show. It's a lot more things to deal with. There's tons of, you know, moving parts and all that stuff. I get it. But like I said, I mean, you know, we immediately had a question because my wife and I both have pro badges for both shows, and like they wanted a pretty good chunk of change basically for me to buy her an exhibitor pass to go help and set up. I'm like, do they do they offer the like last time we were at Comic-Con was 2019, and for setup, instead of like paying extra for her to have this crazy badge to get in, I could just go to the like help desk area basically and get her a little sticker so she could get in and help set up. And the sticker literally said setup or something on it. And so we emailed, and like boom, like that 15 minutes later, we got an email back. Yeah, we've got those, just go to such and such and pick that up. Cool. Now we don't have to, spend an extra chunk of change to get an extra ticket that we don't really need. No. So like stuff like that, they were on the ball. I just, I don't know what their process is on the rest of it to like say, hey, you're in, you're not in, blah, 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 whatever.
But that's another conversation. We'll cover that once you've left us. That's something else that I'll dive into. But no, let's really quickly. Let's bring up on the screen. This is your. I'm going to take that banner off as well, so people can see the bottom as well. Commission list is open. Is this still up and running?
Yes, I've probably got enough time. I can squeeze in a few before we hit WonderCon. So if anybody's interested, my email's on there. You can get a hold of me on any of my social media, which is all as it's on screen. SEAN FORNEY Art. I'm on all of them, I think. So drop me a message, email. I'm easy to reach out to and get a hold of.
Excellent. And you were mentioning about the other shows that you kind of got planned down the line. Is there any that you can talk about now? Is there any that you can let us know which ones you're going to be at?
So let's see. WonderCon obviously coming up. C2E2B next month. And then June, I guess I'll have a break in May, but June I'll be doing Colossal Con, which is kind of an anime-based con in Ohio. I think, which is like the only thing I'm doing in Ohio this year. And then Comic-Con International. Oh, I forgot. I was invited to a show in New Jersey. I'm blanking on the name of it at the moment.
Where's the best place for people to find you? Because, like I say, you and I have been chatting on Threads .net at Sean Forney Art. Where else? Where's the best place for people to find out what you're up to?
I am on Twitter, or whatever they're calling it now. Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram, Facebook. So all of those. And Brandon's giving me a shout out in the comments there about the Facebook Lives that you and I talked about with the Friday Night Draw and stuff. I'm on all those. Also on Twitch and YouTube. Again, all of it's at Sean Forney Art, which is like on my little screen tag thing there. I've got the shows posted and listed, and I constantly try to post where we're going to. But yeah, I mean, from now till like July is pretty much booked up with everything that we got going on. And then I applied, so we'll see what happens. I applied for New York. That's like the only thing I really want to add to the list if we get in. And I don't think I'll know about that until like mid-August, I think, somewhere around there. So yeah, it's going to be, hit these cons in the spring going into summer, and then try to cram in working on some books and get all that out for later in the year.
Sure. Movers and Shakers are joining us. Hello there. How the devil are you? Saying that you do your Facebook Lives as well. So lots of content going up on Facebook. And yeah, let's talk about it. You've got the Kickstarter, which if I just I'll stop that and present this page as instead, because this is Heroes, Villains and Cryptids Volume 1. Now this is yet to go live. If I've got the address and I've got it up on the screen. It's a bit of a long one, but it's there. Kickstarter.com/projects/Sean Forney. Heroes Villains and Cryptids Volume 1. Basically, it's up on the screen. If you search for Sean Forney on Kickstarter, I'm sure you're going to find this all over the place as Volume 1 when it launches at the end of the month. Yeah, and Instagram as well, and all of the bits and pieces, all the pages. What have you got other than shows that's and other than the Kickstarter as well that you can share with us? What else have you got coming down the line?
So the Kickstarter just ended for the newest issue of Lady Death. I'm doing what they call handcrafted covers. They are they got Rob Liefeld to do a Lady Death cover that I will get sent 20 plus black and white line art covers of Lady Death that Rob Liefeld has drawn, and I'm going to hand color those. So that'll be coming up. Like I said, the Kickstarter's already ended, but I'll be working on those pretty soon. I'm also doing, I just did one because they did their Sworn Fest, and they did what they called an instant edition cover. They had, I think it was like 8 different artists work on this cover, and they basically like, I don't know what the other name for it is, but when I was in art school, they called it the Exquisite Corpse, which was basically they would get a group of artists and you would each take turns adding to the drawing. And so that's what they did. So they had somebody start this drawing off, and it was Lady Death, and each person that went down the line literally added, the face, the hair, so on. Wow. And so they had me color it. I got the file. I had 3 hours to get it colored and get it back to them.
Whoa.
And I got it done in 2.5.
Okay, showing off now.
Right. So I got it done, and they did that on Saturday, and Sunday it was available for sale. They had them printed, ready to go, started selling them on Sunday.
Nice.
So they're going to be doing that for Phoenix Fan Fusion in May, I believe. So I'll be working on that when they do it again. This time, I believe it's just Monty Michael Moore will be drawing it, and they're going to send me the file. I'm going to color it. It'll be available the next day for sale. I think I mentioned it already, but my wife and I, we're going to be working on not only the next issue, but the next volume of Scarlet Huntress. I've already started working on pages. Our goal is to hopefully have that at Comic-Con as kind of the early release. It'll be a shorter version of the story. And then later on in the year, hopefully do some added pages, launch on Kickstarter. I just signed on. I'm going to be working on colors for fellow creator Jacob Bear. He's doing a new issue of his book. I'm going to be working on that. And
okay, when do you sleep? When do you sleep?
Rarely. No, I try to do pretty good. Like I will usually start work in the morning, like 8, 9 o'clock, depending on when the dogs let me actually sit down and start working. And then I try to, like, most nights I try to wrap up, like we'll do dinner. Once my wife gets home, we have time to like cook, do whatever, do dinner, and try to either wrap up then, or if I still have some stuff to work on, I try to like end by like 8 o'clock so I can still get some time to chill out, do my thing for the rest of the night. And if I'm home on the weekends, there's definitely time where I'll be sitting in the studio still and trying to get some stuff done. But it's the life of doing freelance, of like constantly juggling and going from one thing to the next and trying to squeeze in several things throughout the day.
It's the life of a professional comics artist and illustrator as well. It's just, it's nonstop. It's nonstop. Yes. And frankly, we appreciate it. Thank you so much indeed for coming on. Again, we've got the address up on the screen. I should have, or you've got your handle down under your name there, Sean Forney Art. Follow Sean wherever you are on your social medias. And as you have got a comment here from Andrew English as well. Yeah, you forgot MySpace. It's somewhere else that you need to just kind of develop. Just keep that in mind and keep that going. But listen, Sean, thank you so much for coming on and talking about all your stuff you've got going on. All the very best to you for WonderCon. All the very best for the Kickstarter as well, for the art book. And I just wish you all the best for you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on here. Thanks for everybody that came to watch and leave comments and everything. I appreciate it. Thank you, Cameron.
You've got Cameron there. Sean is amazing and so nice and just continues to blow everyone away and keep up the grind. Andrew English as well. Sean is just not human. Harsh.
I get that a lot.
Harsh to finish on, but we'll finish on that. But there we go. Sean, thank you so much indeed for your time, sir, and enjoy the rest of your Sunday, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Excellent stuff. So there you go. Go and check out Sean. Like I said, I'm going to put the address up on for a couple more minutes, certainly for the Kickstarter that he's got up and running, or will be up and running by the end of the month. It launches on the weekend of WonderCon, and it is his Heroes, Villains, and Cryptids Volume 1, for 3 upcoming. So very much looking forward to that. Right, let's do a couple of bits and pieces when it comes to the things we've got news of when it comes to WonderCon, because there's a fair amount that's actually come out over the last couple of days, and indeed the last week. So we've got 1 or 2 bits and pieces to talk about, certainly. When it comes to WonderCon, obviously they're updating what they can on the official page for CCI. So they're doing their bits and pieces when it comes to things like timings and what they can tell everybody about what they're getting up to. So we're talking Friday, 11:30 is when it all doors open, all the way through till 7. Saturday 10 till 7, and then Sunday 10 till 5. It's going to be a full weekend of stuff. Also, over the course of the last week, we also got the update when it comes to the official merchandise as well. This is available at comic-con.shop/en, and we're talking things like some rather cute t-shirts, and also you've got yourself some ice hockey ProSphere ice hockey jersey, and also baseball jerseys as well. So some really nice, cool stuff. But look at the prices. They know how to ask, don't they? Those baseball jersey at $119.99. The WonderCon hockey jersey at $109. The Unisex Spirit jersey at $69. The hoodies at $79.99. Not cheap, but if you are a hardcore WonderCon fan, this may be something that you may be interested in getting on. Yes, once again, comic-con.shop/en. Do check that out. Dan Berry is talking about some books, which we're going to cover in a second. We're getting there, mate. Don't worry. What else we got? Yeah, we're also hearing that WonderCon is starting to ship badges. That's going to start happening apparently imminently. So you're going to be able to get your badges if you are heading out to WonderCon. Badges are heading out now, so we're shipping in waves by all accounts. And while your friends may have purchased badges together, may be shipped at different times, but yes, those are heading out as we speak. We have had, it's not all picture free or buffer sound fine. Okay, it's freezing. That might just be a little bit of a glitch. Bear with me. If I am having some more hiccups, do let me know when it comes to the sound on the screen. Right. Right. What else am I doing here? I am going to talk about, like I say, yeah, there's some really good, interesting stuff that's coming out, and yes, there's lots of artists that are appearing, and people are starting to really get excited about WonderCon. But it's not the only thing that's happening. Which, to be fair, it's not entirely good news. This is something that got dropped on the unofficial blog on the 4th, so just before the last weekend. And this is talking about Funko skipping WonderCon Anaheim 2024. While Funko has had a large, and arguably the largest presence on the show floor for the last 2 years, they are confirming that Funko and its brands, including Loungefly, Mondo, Funko Games, and all the rest of it, will not be attending WonderCon Anaheim this month, which kind of then begs the question, what exactly are CCI going to fill that kind of space with on the floor? It is somewhat thing that does dominate, and it does kind of beg the question then, what is going to happen with San Diego? Is it something that they would do at CCI at SDCC? Is it something that Funko feel that they no longer need to support at the con when they have such a big presence outside? You've got their concert and their event that took place in the Shell that happened last year. You have the, of course, Funko Fun Day. What we're going to be finding out when it comes to CCI as we get closer, who knows? But yeah, Funko skipping WonderCon Anaheim 2024 as reported by the unofficial blog. And yes, as we kind of alluded to in my chat there with Sean Forney, the relationship with artists and pros especially when it comes to pro badges and exhibitor badges, it's sense of the press and the professionals starting to get a little bit scaled down and scaled back when it comes to CCI and SDCC. We've got people who are saying that they are having to appeal rejected pro badges. We're talking people who have had 12 years of professional status that are getting rejected, and it does look that they are tightening up on both press and also when it comes to professional as well. They're definitely scaling back and looking at getting more paying attendees through the door. So Andrew English is asking, and this is certainly more about CCI and also WonderCon in general. Another loss, is there any other big names? As far as we're aware, we're going to have to just keep an eye on it and find out when we get the official map, which should be dropping very shortly indeed. Like I say, we're on talking a couple of weeks, so who knows? Are we getting a lot of drop off now? You're going to have to let me know what's happening. Events. Okay. I don't know how much of that people caught, but fingers crossed it wasn't too much in the way of the signal. Also, what else we've got here? Something that's is happening. Oh yes, this is regarding San Diego news. Lots of drops. Oh dear, what a shame. Got none of it. Okay. Yeah, basically about the press and professional. Hopefully, it's something that is going to get rectified when people are either reapplying or trying to get some information out of CCI. But it does look like we're seeing a lot of people getting cut back when it comes to the professional and the press badges. They're being very careful, and they're doing their best, I think, to get enough more paying people through the door rather than just relying on those that are going as a professional. They're tightening up the leash when it comes to that kind of thing. Something that got announced this week, which is certainly when it comes to the Eisners, possibly my favorite of all of the awards out of the whole thing, which is the Spirit of Comics award. This is the Spirit of Comics Retailer Award, and it is the reason why I'm a big fan of this particular category is because it's voted by us. We nominate the stores which are put forward for this particular award, and then we vote for it. So we don't have to be a professional. We just have to be a good, strong comics fan. Available right now on comic-con.org/Talkin/Spirit of Comics 2024 call for nominations. Do check that out, and of course, find out more and put your favorite comic store forward. I do mine every year, and hopefully you will as well. And please support your local comic book shop with the calls for nominations right there. Right, we had a couple of eagle-eyed people spotting my comics, which I got from the shop of choice over the course of last week. And Dan Berry saying, do I have rare flavors? Yes, I've got rare flavors. I've got both covers there as well for issue number 4. Ram V doing a great job on that, as he is on Detective Comics as well. Check that book out. Hell of a thing. Also, that's a book which I'm really getting into at the moment, or still getting into at the moment. That is issue number 8 of World Tree from James Tinian and Federico Blanco. However, they are not, they aren't my particular book of the week because let's do that one first. We've got ourselves a couple of honorable mentions when it comes to the comic of the week this time round, which number 1 is the rather fine Night People which is a book which I've really enjoyed. If anything, for the sheer grittiness, I mean, it's something that I expect from Image to get really good, which is an adaptation of Barry Gifford, who is the creator of, or co-creator of Wild at Heart, and also with David Lynch creating Lost Highway as well. This is being put together by Chris Condon, who is the guy behind That Texas Blood. But you've got art from the likes of Brian Level, Andrei Tefanecki, Art-Yom Toplin, and Marco Finnegan as well. It's a murderer's row of talent that's involved in this particular book, and it looks absolutely incredible. Very grim, very gritty, and very messy around the edges, and certainly something which is not going to appeal to everybody. It's lots of evil and ugly looking people doing evil and ugly looking things. It's a very, very messy book indeed, but it's one that I personally recommend and would heartily suggest you check out. Yeah, I know Dan Berry is saying, do you have Rare Flavors 3 handy? I know why he's asking as well, and no, I think we'll leave that one to it. The next one I want to bring up is this, which is The Batman First Night, which has been put together by Dan Jurgens and Mike Perkins for the DC Black Label publishing. So it's very much in the oversized print, which seems to be the book du jour type at the moment. Obviously, you've got all of the distillery books coming out in that regard, but no, Batman or The Batman First Night. I'm really loving this book, if anything, because you've got yourself some incredible art, which I expect nothing less from Mike Perkins, but also just some really clever renderings. When you've got the likes of Bruce Wayne looking like a Hollywood matinee star, and a whole bunch of people that are being cast very much looking like some Silver Age Hollywood stars. As we've got films on the brain with the Oscars happening tonight, yeah, it kind of makes sense to kind of pick this up and think of the Silver Age of Hollywood and the silver screen, and casting some old school actors in that regard. Looks amazing, and it certainly holds up. It is a great book to read. Check that out. It is The Batman First Night, available right now. Not cheap. I mean, that was £7 for the oversized, so it's $6.99, so $7 as well. But no, highly recommended. It's quality for the actual page, but also quality for the book as well. But it isn't my book of the week. My book of the comic of the week is definitely this, which is rather appropriate for International Women's Day, happening yesterday or over the weekend. It is Women of Marvel. This is a compendium of stories featuring some of the finer characters in the roster for DC. And you've got the likes of Angelique Roche, Gail Simone, Triona Farrell. You've got Sarah Reese Brennan, Erica Schultz, who has never done a bad story in her life. I don't think it's impossible for her to do it. You've got Celeste Brompham as well, which is a couple of names in here which I'm not too familiar with. Neo Fuji, I don't know who that is, but considering that they have done this incredible take on Black Widow in their incredible stuff. No, just it's a murderer's row, and it's also a really great way of discovering some fantastic talent, female talent working on comics at the moment. Women of Marvel is just an incredible book for me, and I'm really enjoying the art style. I'm enjoying the taking apart and deconstruction of some known characters, but also just the way that they've been put on page. I mean, as you can see now, the art is absolutely stunning, and of course the stories have just been knocked out of the park. Highly recommended. That is my comic of the week. It is Women of Marvel, which is available in stores as of last Wednesday. So do check that out as my comic of the week. I know that there's several people who have been really hyping and putting forward the Ultimate X-Men by Peach Mokomo. I do have some thoughts on that book, if anything, because it is so unlike anything in the mainstream when it comes to the comics that you can see on the shelves at the moment. It's a very... I'm just wondering if it's too much. It's too artistic. It's too stylistic. It would have been fantastic as a limited run. It would have been great as an event book, something in a very prestige style. But the fact that it is Ultimate X-Men is one of the tentpole stories of the X-Men, or the Ultimate line, which is being released at the moment by Marvel. I'm just finding it's very awkward to get my head around what Peach has done. Certainly when it comes to a mainstream book, but no, I'd recommend checking it out. See what you thought. What do you think? Have you read Ultimate X-Men yet by Peach Mokomo? It's unlike any X-Men book that you will ever see, and it's unlike any comic that's currently on the shelves. It showcases the supreme talent, which is Peach Mokomo. But what do you make of it? What do you make of it as a mainstream tentpole book for the Ultimate line and for Ultimate X-Men? Next Wednesday, you've got Ultimate Black Panther as well. The Ultimate line is barreling on. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it's all going to kind of tie together, especially when you've got the first page. It's just telling you every single time. It's about the maker. It's about the influence and the ripple effect of what that character did in the Ultimate universe. So yeah, let us know what you think. What did you think, and what did you make of Ultimate X-Men? Mention in the comments below. Please do let us know. You've got Andrew English as well. I think it's May for Duke and Cobra Commander, all part of Skybound's Energon universe. Indeed. I think you've got someone else. It's all tying into the Transformers book, which, by the way, if you have not read Skybound's Transformers book, it is one of the best comics out there at the moment. Highly recommended. I think issue number 6 is on its way, so highly recommended checking that out. And you got Danbury as well, Scarlet and Distro series coming as well, all part of Skybound's Energon universe. Yes, do check that out. So there we go. That's my show for today. We've covered a lot, but once again, thank you very much indeed to SEAN FORNEY for joining us for today's show. It's been a pleasure to talk about kickstarting in the shadow of WonderCon and in the shadow of social media kind of not collapsing in on itself, but certainly regrouping and changing its formats. What do you think? Which is the best place for you to get your social media fix? Indeed, where have you been following what I do? You know that I've gone over to Threads as my main social media, but where are you watching this from? We put it out to Facebook, we put it out to YouTube, we put it out to all sorts of places. Where do you watch this show from? Comment down below. Let us know. If anything, we'll do our best to kind of either bolster those places that perhaps you don't know that we broadcast to, including LinkedIn. Don't ask, but we do. But yeah, just let us know what you think and where we head to. Andrew Dixon saying YouTube. Yeah, I mean, the great thing about YouTube as well, Michael P, running a bit late. Thank you very much indeed. The time changes and the put into the clocks forwards. Thanks for that. I think we lost a fair couple of people. We got some people who are watching in, so thank you very much indeed for tuning in. But yes, where do you watch from? The great thing about YouTube, of course, is the comments, the comment section over there. Yes, jumping in and live comments. Thank you, everybody who joined us on Wednesday's show, where we talked to Tom King and got the comments in. When you get a comment and you get somebody jumping in and it's Donny Cates, I'm a happy bunny. It was great to have a proof of life from Donny and having him back. So like showing that he's around and saying hello to people. So there we go. That has been our show. Thank you very much indeed for watching. Back again next week, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Well, no, the clocks still haven't gone forward, will they? So it's going to be 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, and 6 p.m. GMT, which is our lunch point. That's when I broadcast. Whatever time, hopefully you will be able to join us next week for another Talking Con, a cup of tea with an Englishman in San Diego. Closer and closer we get to WonderCon Anaheim 2024. Till then, take care. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Has that frozen? I think it has. We're having some issues, but we're getting there. Andrew English is saying Happy Mother's Day here in the UK. Thanks to all of my Patreon supporters who will be showing up on screen. And it does say on there as well, please do like and subscribe and do everything you can to spread the word about Talkin Con. We'll see you soon, and hopefully you'll join us next Sunday. Bye-bye.